go and say, oh, by the way, I'm 35 degrees clockwise from so-and-so, because just after you said 35 degrees, the radio could go and they wouldn't know whether it was anti-clockwise or clockwise. So this all dates back to olden days, really. So what do we know about bearings? Sorry, what do we know about bearings? You always measure them from north. Okay, so straight up. You always measure them in a clockwise direction, and you always write them down as 3 digits. Okay, so if the answer was 81, you don't write 81, you write 081. So those are the 3 things you're going to have to remember throughout this lesson. Okay, now up to now we've done the Z angle rule and the F angle rule, and up to now I haven't felt it necessary to introduce you to the third rule, okay, because the Z angle and the F angle at the end of the day will cover all questions. But I think when it comes to bearings in particular, the C angle rule is a good one. So I'm just going to introduce it to you today. So first of all, I'm just going to remind you of the other rules. Okay, so we've got the Z angle rule, we've got the F angle rule. Okay, and the Z angle rule, we know those 2 angles are the same. And with the F angle rule, we know that these 2 angles are the same. Now, with the I'm just going to make, yes, I think these lines would be good if they, oh no, we'll have to make up with it. Be good if those 2 red lines were a bit further apart, but they're not. But never mind, we'll just make do. Now, with this third one, okay, we're going to be making an upside down C. I'm going to make it just a bit narrower than that. Okay, so that's an upside down C, or it's more like a U shape really, isn't it? But it's called the C angle rule because it's the co-interior rule, co-interior angles. And what we know about this is that the 2 angles inside add up to 180. So just to draw this again, but I'm going to make the lines further apart. If you've got 2 lines which are parallel, so that's parallel to that, and the 2 blue lines are parallel, that's parallel to that. When we go and draw this shape on top of it, these 2 angles inside add up to 180. They are not the same, they add up to 180. So if that angle there is 80 and that is x, we can say that x equals 180, take away 80, which is 100 degrees. And for the third example that I'm going to show you, that's what we're going to use. So it's called the C angle rule for short. Okay, that's slang. That's why that's in speech marks. It's that co-interior angles add up to 180. Okay, so let's go through the 3 types of example that are going to be in the Dr. Frost questions today. So the first 2 are easier. They cover the majority of the questions. The third one is harder. So question number 1, work out the bearing of B from A. Now it's absolutely critical that on every question you read where you're going from, and that's where you imagine you're at. That's the key bit. That's where you're going to be doing all your work from. So the bearing of B from A. Now, working through the 3 rules, we always measure from north. So we're measuring from north. We always measure clockwise. So we've got to go from north all the way around to there. That's where our line is. That is the angle we need to work out. We're measuring from north. We're measuring clockwise. And when we give our final answer, it's got to be 3 digits. So how do we work out that angle? Well, we know that angles on a straight line are 180. So we know that part of it is 180. And then we're just adding on another 50. So working out the bearing of B from A is going to be 180, add 50, which is 230 degrees. Now that already satisfies rule number 3. That is 3 digits, so there's no fiddling around I need to do. Okay, so just going over that again. That angle there round to there is 180 degrees, because angles in a straight line add up to 180, and then I've just added on that extra 50. 180 add 50 is 230. So you're going to get a whole bunch of questions that look like that. Question number 2. Okay, same idea. Okay, same idea here. It's from A. So go and set yourself at A. That's where you're doing all your work from. You're measuring it from north and you're going clockwise. So from north going clockwise, hitting the line. That is the answer I need to give. Now, what do I know about angles about a point? I know angles all the way around a circle add up to 360 degrees. Okay, they add up to 360 degrees. So this angle here in red it's got to be the rest of when I take away 50. So my bearing here is going to be 360, take away 50, the answer is going to be 310 degrees. So that's measured from north, measured clockwise, and it's 3 digits. So that's the final answer. So those two I think are pretty straightforward. And that's what, I don't know, 15 out of 20 or 10 out of 15 of the questions are like on the worksheet. This third one is a bit tougher. So use the diagram below, find the bearing of A from B. A from B. So we're going to be doing it from B. So from B, now measuring it north, from north, that angle in red is the angle I've got to work out. That's the final answer that I'm going to give. But I need to do 3 steps to work this out. First of all, step 1 in green, I can work out that answer there over at A. That's going to be the rest to complete a circle. So that angle at A is going to be 360, take away 250, which is 110. So that's step 1. Now, that new rule that I've told you about, that co-interior rule. These two angles here, okay, add up to 180 degrees. So this angle that I'm going to go and call Y, no, let's call it X. That angle X there, let's get a better colour. That angle there that I'm going to call X, I can work that out because the co-interior angles add up to 180. So X is 180, take away that angle at A, which is 110, so that's 70 degrees. So I've worked out that X is 70 degrees. And then finally, to answer the question, so my bearing, my one in red, is going to be the rest to complete that circle. That's a bit all the way around in red. That's going to be 360, take away 70, which is 290 degrees. And that's my final answer. So let's just go over this trickier one again. The question tells us that we've got to work it out from B. So that's the first thing. Work out the angle that you need to work out for the final answer for your bearing. That is that angle in red. Okay, that's the angle that I'm just going over now. That is what my final answer needs to be. Now, to get to that, I've done 3 bits of work. I've gone over to B and I've started off by working out that angle in green, because angles about a point add up to 360. So that's 360 take away 250 is 110. So I did that work in green first of all. Then our new rule, that new co-interior rule I told you about a bit earlier on, that's the bit in purple. Angles inside that C shape, or that U shape if you like, add up to 180. And because that angle at A was 110, X must be 180 take away 110, which is 70. And then finally, once I've worked out that X is 70, then my angle in red must be 360 take away 70, which is 290, because angles about a point add up to 180. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave these questions shared to start with, because I think if you're getting stuck, I can just show you any